Shall we stand up one more time? Are you ready to receive the word of God? Yes. Okay, only one verse. Okay, Matthew chapter 13, verse 44. 3 times, let us shout. First before God, also in our heart, and for blessing to each other. Are you ready? 3 times? Okay. This is the real voice of Jesus Christ. Amen? Ready, go. The kingdom of heaven is like a treasure hidden in a field. When a man found it, he hid it again. And then in his joy, went and sold all he had and bought that field. The kingdom of heaven is like a treasure hidden in a field. When a man found it, he hid it again. And then in his joy, went and sold all he had and bought that field. Last, the kingdom of heaven is like treasure hidden in a field. When a man found it, he hid it again. And then in his joy, went and sold all he had and bought that field. God bless you. Be seated. Okay, today we are so blessed to have a special speaker sent from God. Amen? Are you ready to receive wonderful blessing? Okay, his name Pastor Daniel. Okay, let us receive him with big hands.
Well, first I want to say thank you for giving me and Sun Young the chance to visit your service and to give the message today. My wife and I have been in Gwangju about 25 years, and we've known many churches in this city, and we are always thankful when the gospel is preached in Gwangju to reach everyone in Gwangju. So I am very thankful for your English ministry and your heart to want to give the gospel to everyone in our city. Whenever we minister to other cultures, we find things that are new. There are ways Korea is not like your country, ways that America is not like your country. When we minister to other cultures, we can learn things that are new. And I believe at Matthew 13:44 that this verse is about what is new, or what's new in each of us. See, sometimes Jesus is not really helpful because he gives us these 2 words, the kingdom of heaven. Well, we have 2 words and we're trying to find out what are these 2 words. And we know that they're new, but we would think Jesus would be more clear. But he gives us a riddle. He says the kingdom of heaven is like a treasure that's hidden. Well, the way heaven increases, somehow it's like this hidden treasure. The way heaven forms inside of us, sometimes it's like a treasure, or it's like a treasure. But when we come to Matthew 13:44, Jesus gives us a riddle. And so when we come to a riddle, we should not be really fast. How is this kingdom like a treasure? How is this kingdom making us new? See, at these 4 words, the kingdom of heaven, we should never think we've acquired all of the kingdom of heaven. There is always something new that the kingdom of heaven wants to do in you. Jesus, he is pointing to his work, and he is saying heaven's work, which is his work. And we need to ask, do I want the work of heaven? Because heaven's work exceeds our work. Do I want the life of heaven? Because heaven's life exceeds our life. In much the same way that Jesus' rule exceeds any earthly ruler's rule, heaven's life exceeds any life we could live. So this kingdom is new. The value of God's faithfulness to us is always new. See, treasure may seem like a very friendly word, but in this word, Matthew 13:44, treasure is a priceless gift. Jesus is where heavens reign and our heart meet. See, our heart is always old. Come. Jesus does not say, you are new. Jesus, in saying, Matthew 13:44, the kingdom of heaven is like, well, Jesus is always new. His kingdom is always new. And the intersection of our oldness and his newness is found at this word, treasure. And then he says, hidden. Now, the word hidden, when we look at the word to cover something, the definition of cover, to place something upon or over. A covering has two things. You cover a bed with a blanket. You cover a cake with icing. Sports has the word covering. If you ever heard of basketball, in basketball there is man-to-man coverage. And the defender on the basketball court is told, you go cover your man. But in all these kinds of covering, the idea is the same. Whether you cover a person in basketball, whether you cover a crime with a lie, whether you cover a cake with icing, that there's what's covered, and then there is the covering. So the first question we have here, Matthew 13:44, hidden. The kingdom of heaven is hidden. Now the verb here is, it is continually hidden. Hidden treasure has two parts. There is the treasure that's real, and then we don't see it. It's hidden. This treasure has two parts. Jesus is talking about real treasure, but it's hidden. We don't see it. Sometimes we can miss treasure. In California in 1847, they found gold in the mountains. That gold was always there. The Indians had been there thousands of years. And this yellow rock, what's important about it? I don't want it. You can go to the Middle East and all the oil that's under the ground. But 200 years ago, there's all this oil under your land. who cares? We call all of this natural treasure. But the treasure in Matthew 13:44 is a treasure chest. It has two parts. The Greek word for treasure here is thesauro. And this is where we get the English word thesaurus. A thesaurus is a book containing similar words. But a thesaurus is both the book and the words that are inside of it. The treasure that we find here is not a natural treasure or treasure generally. It's both the container, the chest, and the treasure that is inside it. The treasure, because it was heaven's treasure, was not lost. It was sent. It's something like a message in a bottle. You have a bottle, you put a message in it, and then you throw it on the ocean. But this treasure is specifically prepared for the needs of the person who finds it. So we find a treasure chest, and it's covered with dirt, and it's filled with coins, and a long time ago it was buried. And now we come, which a man found. Now with this word, a man found, Jesus stops describing the treasure. Jesus just gives us one thing about this treasure. It's hidden. But Jesus describes 5 things about this man. First, the man finds the treasure. Second, he hides the treasure. Third, he rejoices over the treasure. Fourth, he sells all he has to get the treasure. And fifth, he buys the field for the sake of the treasure. Now, the first step with this treasure, the treasure covers the man. I'm reading the NASB Bible today. The man, in finding it, the treasure, is new. A man with a treasure is not the same as a man without the treasure. Many people will say, I'm looking for a good treasure. But this man has found a limitless treasure. Matthew 13:44, and from joy over it. See, should we discover joy, joy covers us. And from joy over it. There's 3 levels here. There's the man. He's got the treasure. The man, the treasure. And then there's joy over it. From joy over this treasure. Should we discover joy, joy covers us. The man now has a guard. Basketball, as I said, has man-on-man coverage. Well, joy, like a guard, covers all our day. Joy covers us when we are discouraged or angry or believe we've been mistreated. Joy is our guard. Joy is assigned man on man to cover us. The man, he thinks the treasure is the treasure. But joy is over it. The treasure is the cake. The joy is the icing over it. And from joy over it. And this man, in now hiding the treasure, now finds that joy is over him. That there are two words that are ongoing in Matthew 13, verse 44. The treasure is continually hidden. It is continually bobbing like a message in a bottle on the sea, waiting for anyone to pick it up on the beach of their life. This treasure is continually hidden. But the second word that is continual is found. Literally, it can be either having found or finding. The man, he found this treasure once, but he is always finding it anew. See, we think this parable is about the treasure, but Jesus says the treasure he has and the treasure he gives, joy over it. Joy is over it. Joy in whatever it overcomes is new. Joy is a new champion. Jesus' joy in whatever it overcomes. Jesus' joy gives us a victor's crown in whatever it overcomes. In any hardship we face, joy is the victor's crown we wear. So there are three things that this sermon is about. First, the kingdom of heaven. Second, the treasure that's hidden. And third, the man who found it. See, what is revealing heaven? Well, the kingdom of heaven is like treasure. See, the treasure is revealing heaven. But what's revealing the treasure? The man. This is called substitution. God is pleased to take heaven and hide it in treasure. The treasure is a substitute for heaven. But the only way the treasure is found is by the man. Heaven is continually being hidden with this treasure, so that only with the man, as he is continually finding it, that he reveals the treasure. God hides this treasure so that we reveal it. The treasure guides our actions. See, what guides our actions but is not visible is like a rudder. Why does God see fit to hide the extraordinary power of His grace under the normalness of our lives? But God does. It's Jesus' grace. It's our sin. It's Jesus' resurrection. It's our lips. It's Jesus' cross. It's our forgiveness. Matthew 13:44. But the man hid again, which a man found and hid again. This treasure is like a rudder from heaven. With it, God continually guides our life. A ship's rudder is always hidden underneath the ship. But you see what it does. Now, Matthew 13:44, which a man found and hid again. See, at this point, the man does not know God shares treasure. The man does not know God's treasure is a gift, which a man found and hid again. This man thinks, I have to steal this treasure. A treasure cannot be earned. The treasure is not yours. It does not belong to you. You found it in another man's field. When this man finds it, he stole it. Jesus changes how we think about treasure. We measure treasure by what we see. Jesus says his treasure is found by faith. The man sees the treasure that is hidden. He believes, he saw, he took, he rejoiced. Faith takes treasure that is not ours. We know the man has stolen this treasure by two facts. He rejoices and he hides. We rejoice in what we have. The man by faith gets the feather, gets the treasure, rejoices with the treasure. But the next step, the man inspects. He weighs. Now that this treasure is mine, I must hide it lest someone take it from me. I must hide it lest the landowner come looking for it and take it from me. When the man sees this gold chest in his hands, I do not have enough money to buy that chest. But the treasure causes the man to inspect all his possessions. Now I want to tell you about two men. One was 18 years old. His father died when he was very young. His mother worked mopping floors, and he lived with his mother in a one-room apartment by the city dump. This man never expected to find the treasure. He said, I'm poor. But he had the treasure, he had stolen the treasure, he hid the treasure, and he was filled with joy over the treasure. Because he's got the treasure. But what this young man did is he inspected the treasure that he took by theft. He wanted to gain in truth. Well, the field where this treasure is was big. It was worth 130 million won, or $100,000. And the boy, he inspected all of his possessions. He had a bike. He sold his bike for 50,000 won. He had a jacket. He sold his jacket for 10,000 won. He inspected everything in his house that was his, and he managed to sell everything, but all he had was 90,000 won. And he went to the landowner, and he met the landowner, and he said, "Sir, I want to buy your field." And the landowner said, "Well, this field is worth 130 million won." And the landowner said, "Well, how much will you pay?" And the boy said, "I have 90,000 won." And the landowner said, "Well, this field is 130 million won." And the boy started walking away downcast. But the landowner went to this boy and he said, "Is this all you have?" "Yes." The young man said, "This is absolutely everything that I have." And the landowner said, "Done. I will take your 90,000 won. You get my field. The field is yours." He sells everything that he has and buys that field. The treasure requires that we inspect. Now there was another man, and we will say he found the treasure, he took the treasure, he hid the treasure, he rejoiced over the treasure, and he seeks to buy the same field with the treasure. And this man was rich. And he goes to the landowner and he says, "Here's 130 million won, sell me the field." Well, the landowner says, "I'm not selling." And then the rich man says, "Well, I'll give you double the price, 260 million won." The landowner says, "I'm still not selling the field." And the rich man says, "I'll give you tenfold, I'll give you 100-fold for this field." The rich man said, "No deal." Or the landowner said, "No deal, I'm not selling." From joy over it, he goes and sells everything that he has. Joy is a detective, and it must inspect everything in our heart. Joy is a fire that must burn our garbage. Jesus is always getting bigger. Our memories are always getting smaller. Old memories are like the old clothes in our closet. When we try to put them on, we find they are always too small. So if joy is a guard over us, and joy is a guide under us, joy is a fire that must finish its unmerciless work of burning everything that he has. Joy is not a what. Joy is a who. Joy inspects. Jesus inspects. Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 10. I, the Lord, search the heart and examine the mind, to reward each person according to their conduct, according to what their deeds deserve. Jesus searches our heart, examines our mind. It's from the joy of our heart, the faith of our mind, that our lives are worked out. Yet, for the priceless value of this treasure, whatever we have previously thought has value, we sell. The soul that turns to Jesus has found a cleansing not on the outside, but on the inside. Jesus begins our walk. Our joy begins our walk with Jesus. Joy ends our walk behind Jesus. And joy causes us to sell both the wealth of our ambitions and the poverty of our disappointments. Jesus gave away all that he had at the cross, that we would give away all that we have. Joy comes when we let go of our old treasure to take Jesus' new treasure. So we see in this parable the generosity and the shrewdness of God. God says, I'm giving you this treasure that's hidden. I'm throwing it out on the sea. Anyone can take it. It's specifically for you. But God's shrewd. Do you want this treasure? Well, sell your riches. Sell your poverty. Because the treasure that God gives, the joy that he gives, cannot live when we hold on to our resentments, our hurts, our disappointments, whatever is in our inmost parts. When we sell it, when we get rid of it, God says, here's the field, here's the joy. So this sermon has been about what is new. In buying the field with heaven's treasure, the man is new. I will finish this sermon with 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 6. For God, who said, "Let light shine out of darkness," made his light shine in our hearts to give us the light of the knowledge of the glory of God in the face of Christ. But we have this all-surpassing power. We have this treasure in jars of clay to show that this all-surpassing power is from God and not from us. We carry around the treasure in jars of clay. We're always hiding it, but we're always revealing it. 2 Corinthians 4:10, we always carry around in our body the death of Jesus, so that the life of Jesus may be revealed in our body. So, anyone who's here and you haven't taken the treasure, that treasure, you just see it like a bottle with a note on an ocean. and it lands on the shore, the beach of your life. And you say, is this treasure for me? I know everything about my past. Why would a treasure come to me? But God sends the treasure for just one man to take it. And anyone, my treasure is my pain. My treasure is whoever I'm angry with. God says, sell everything you have. Buy this treasure. Anyone who says, I can't afford the treasure, it's a gift. And it gives you joy. And it gives you life.